Alright, finally getting around to making some videos. Some people have been asking about seed starting. I'm sure you guys have all seen these. It's your standard Jiffy growing medium, I guess, box. This particular one is a 72. Each space has 6 holes in it, and so there's 72 in here. They come in I think 36s, great big holes like that, and you can get them in 128s, little tiny holes. And we're gonna fill this one up just to show you how I get it done. I've got a couple over there already. So what I do, I have it's a basic wash tub, and I'm trying to get organized here. This is a standard, just a basic potting soil that I've added just a little bit of raw compost to. Put a little bit of that in the bucket and some sun warmed or room temperature water just to wet it down. And I mix it up. Your seeds will do better if you put them in soil that's already moist, whether you're putting them into seeding trays like I am, or direct sow into beds. It doesn't really hurt to spray it down just a little bit. You can see our consistency here. It'll kind of stick together, but it's still crumbly. I can't get any water out of it. That's about all you need to mix it. Now, in order to germinate, you don't need to fertilize your potting soil. If you're using pre-made seeding soil or potting soil, or if you're mixing your own, which we often do, you don't need to add any fertilizer. Just like a human embryo with the placenta surrounding it, the womb, the seed cover is lined with living material when it begins to germinate that will provide enough nutrition for that seed to germinate and become a little plant. I don't normally fertilize anything until at least a week or two after it's come up. Then I'll give it its initial fertilization, depending on the soil that it's in and the type of plant it is. But when you're making potting soil or mixing seeding soil, you don't need to pre-fertilize it. It's not necessary. It's just extra money, so don't bother. Plain old measuring cup. Get it in there. Pour it on. You don't have to be, if you got a potting table like I do here, you don't have to be nice about it. You can just, I could, if I wanted to, just dump this whole mixing bin on there and be good. But I don't want to do that. I like it to go in loose. And once you have it on there, see if I can get down here where you can see it. You know, it's mounted up a little bit. Just gently brush it back and forth into the holes. As you can see, you know, some of the holes don't fill up all the way. No problemo. We put some more mix. We add a little more water. We stir it up. Take out any big detritus. It's going to obviously be in the way in a seeding tray. And a little bit more. That looks pretty good. Yep. Alright. And we dump it on. Spread it around to make sure we don't have any exposed cells. Alright. Now, as you can see, we're a little bit high. There's a trim line right here between each of the 6 cell blocks, and we're a little bit high. Real simple. We grab the tray, we just drop it a couple of times, you know, just a couple inches up. We don't want this packed tight. We want our seeds to be able to root fairly easily. Alright, pick a couple of big chunks up off of there. There's a little spot there that's still a little low. Alright, now we're fairly level. It's not, the soil isn't packed in there. It's not overflowing. So at this point, what you can do, you can go ahead and seed if you want to. You've got nice moist soil. Alright. What I prefer to do is, if I'm using big seeds, in this pre-moistened soil, I'll put my big seeds in there right now and put my cover over it. If I'm using small seeds, I'll put my cover on here and I'll let this sit overnight to get the moisture working through and out of the soil evenly. The top of this will look like this tomorrow. It'll be misted up. That's when I'll put in my small seeds. The reason I do that is I don't want the seed holes to soak. And if you put something that's completely dry into this pre-moistened soil, then there's a chance that because it's the only dry medium in there, it's going to attract and soak up too much of that water. So I'll let this sit overnight for small seeds. Big seeds, I don't worry about it too much. Once that's done and I want to water these, you have two choices. On some of my more tender seeds, I'll use a spray bottle, just a squirt bottle. You can get them at Ace Hardware or wherever, with sun warmed or room temperature water, and just I'll mist the top real good until it is soaked on the top. Cover it up, leave it alone. For the seeds that are critical for rooting before transplant, you lift this up, you take your water and you pour it in there, and you fill it up till you're about, maybe an eighth or a quarter of an inch above the bottom of the cell, and allow the moisture to wick up through the potting soil to draw. It'll naturally draw the rooting down. And that's all there is to it. Just as simple as that. Depending on your seeding area, you can put a heating pad, a seed heater pad underneath these things. You can put grow lights over the top. You never want to be closer than about 1.5 to 2 inches from the top of your tallest sprout or the soil. Keep your lights away. I usually don't bother with either one. I've got great southern exposure right here. I have good aeration and heat control, airflow under the table, so I don't worry about that too much. There's all kinds of little tricks and tweaks you can do. I don't do any of that. I've never found it necessary. These are lettuce seeds, lettuce seedlings that I used this exact method on 3 days ago, and you can see them all coming up already. I haven't added a drop of water to this thing. Just the moisture from the pre-moistened soil, even after sitting overnight, provides more than enough moisture to keep these nice and wet. You don't want it soaked. You'll get a green film over the top of your soil and leads to mold and all kinds of other things, and your seedlings will rot. But probably tomorrow, when all of the cells have germinated fully, I'll take the cover off, leave it off during the day to let the moisture escape instead of trapping it. I'll put the lid on at night for temperature control. And anywhere from, depending on what I'm planting, anywhere from 10 days to 4 weeks after germination, I'll either transplant these into bigger containers using the exact same method, or direct sow them outside. And that's all there is to it. That's how I seed. It works for me. Give it a try. Good luck.